Hey everybody, welcome to the Fractured Focus reaction to Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode number 4, The Spoils of War. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Gordon, and coming in live from the great state of Nebraska, the original swino of Omaha himself, Mr. Matt Swinehart. Matt, how you doing?
I am good.
Awesome fucking episode again last night. I mean, besides, I know a lot of people were saying that Episode 1, as great as it was, might have been a little bit slower paced. Every episode, really, so far this season, including last night's, just seems to be continuously ramping up and fucking awesome. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. How did you feel about the Spoils of War, Matt?
I loved it.
Fucking awesome.
I think I texted you afterwards because I know that you had some things going on you couldn't get to it. Yeah, I was super excited to talk about it.
Oh, my God. So many big things happened in it. God, we were talking about just a few episodes ago that we have to finally see this episode where Daenerys is just storming with her dragon, and we finally got to see this in this episode last night, and they did not hold back at all. You could tell they put a lot of production value into it. It wasn't just a few shots of the dragon. Like, they tore some shit up. That was awesome. Before we even get into the nitty-gritty of all that kind of stuff, I kind of want to talk a little bit about how I thought it was interesting that the beginning of the season, it looks like Daenerys is just on top. She could have the Seven Kingdoms tomorrow if she wanted to. She specifically chosen not to. Tyrion had some great ideas. Olenna foreshadowed, hey, don't just listen to clever people. That's how I've outlived them all. Be a dragon. And you can tell that she's basically lost most of her advantages. Not all. She still has the dragons, the Dothraki, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But she's fucking pissed. She's frustrated that she's lost everything by listening to these. In fact, it sounds like she was even starting to doubt Tyrion, like, oh, are you really caring more about your family right now? Is that why you're holding back? I didn't see that. I'd expect that to happen at all, but it looks like there's a little bit of a rift forming.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it was definitely there. No, it's... Before we jump to the end, I mean, it was awesome. The episode was great. Yeah, I mean, as far as from where she came on such a high, you know, they ended, season 6 they ended, she's on the ships, you know, big sails coming over. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of, you know, they had to level the playing field somehow.
Yeah, they kind of did, because they came in it so much, it's like, well, Jesus, this is going to be easy. And, man, they've clearly, I mean, they've got such smart writing on this. They found a way to keep this going in such a way that actually made sense. I mean, we talked about that before in the show. Like, everything Tyrion was saying made a lot of sense, but it was still all overcome. And now her only advantage left is her, Dothraki army and the dragons. That's it.
Yeah, well,
and the Unsullied.
She still has her Unsullied, yeah. I think it just kind of shows that the people she's up against aren't idiots. They didn't, you know, fall into the throne, right? Jaime knows what he's doing. Cersei clearly has no mercy, and she doesn't have a problem doing the things that she needs to do.
She also seems to be, I really was thinking now that all of her kids are gone, and she's even specifically said that was their only reason to keep her alive, you know, other than that she would have killed herself a long time ago, that she might be just unhinged and just go off on a little almost mad king tirade. She hasn't. She's been calm and collected, and in a way that I kind of didn't expect to be this season. I mean, she's clearly a monster, but she hasn't been like, off the hook.
I think her heart died with her children.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you're seeing now is just somebody that doesn't want to give up the throne, and somebody also doesn't want to lose. I mean, she really does. I don't think she cares what happens to King's Landing. It's like she didn't care what happened to Casterly Rock. Yeah. Because they were willing to give it up, because they knew they could just get it back whenever they wanted.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the only thing she has left to live for at all is Jaime right now. And Jaime seems like ever since he got his hand cut off, he's gone almost kind of on an arc that's he's more humanized. He's I don't know if that's the right word. He doesn't seem as much of a prick or a monster that he was in the first couple of seasons. Yeah. And the first person that I remember seeing him actually kill on screen since all that happened is actually Olenna, that he just did very delicately with poison that didn't hurt or there was no pain and all that kind of stuff. And even I loved Olenna's message when she's like, boy, you've lost it because you're so blind to what Cersei's become, and the fact that he even admits, yeah, maybe. But he doesn't seem evil anymore. And I thought when we saw this fight go on between him and Bronn and everybody against, even seeing Tyrion on the battlefield staring at him, I thought was just awesome. You're just dying to know what that interaction's going to be that we're eventually going to see. But it's weird because you don't just root for Daenerys' side to just decimate these people because you kind of like Jeremy and you kind of like Bronn and all this kind of stuff. It was an interesting battle to watch for that reason because usually there's one clear side that, you know, fucking I hope this team wins. And this was not as clear cut.
Yeah, there's a lot of shades of gray.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Bronn, love Bronn. Jamie, I mean, his character has just taken such an arc. I mean, he's just one of those shows that, I don't know if he's the anti-villain, if he's the anti-hero. He's
just shades of gray in the middle.
Yeah, he's in the middle. I mean, he resides right there.
He's so good at finding a way to rationalize everything that's happening all the time because all that matters is Cersei, and there's something kind of noble about that, you know, to an extent, too. But that fight was fucking epic and awesome.
It was.
So one-sided. And I like the fact that they're not waiting. They've already jumped into using that, like, you know, giant spear gun to attack the dragons and show that, you know, that can be hurt. Because I was like, God.
But they didn't wait, and I almost feel like that was a mistake that they've made now.
Because they like, tipped their hand.
Yeah, they've now showed their hand. This weapon exists. It clearly injured the dragon, but it didn't kill it. Who is that? Is that Draco? Or
Drogon.
Drogon. So she's on Drogon. He's clearly hurt and injured.
Yeah.
He may or may not be able to fly. Yeah, I mean, they've tipped their hand. I mean, it's changed things.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, Daenerys has tipped her hand, but apart from that weapon, nothing on the battlefield touched.
Right. Yeah, nothing. And it's, I think tipping the hand is the best way to put that because if that's the only real way they can think of to kill the dragon, you pretty much have to put all your eggs in one basket and either like have a bunch of those or remember there's 3 dragons. So even if you take down one, and as soon as you let go,
you saw what happened to it after.
Right.
You know, he got his shot off. You saw what happened because it takes time to load.
Yeah.
And I mean, honest to God, I mean, I think with that thing, it would be a lucky shot.
I
mean, I know Bronn's a hell of a character, and I love the character, and I love the guy.
Yeah.
And I hope he has a huge role in the end of this.
Yeah.
Just because I've been kind of going back and reading some of the who is Bronn, where's Bronn from, because he's still a mystery man.
I know.
Right?
God, don't you just... Well, I think George R. R. Martin even said he wasn't intended Bronn to be this main character. He's not a main character, but like as big of the role that he played. And he basically invented him and created him so that Tyrion had someone to talk to on his journeys in the first few books and the first few seasons of the show. But then he ended up falling in love with the character so much that he just played a bigger role. It just organically grew out of that. And I think that's a testament to how much we love him.
Well, I mean, that's a testament to the actor as well. That actor has so much charisma and has brought that character to life. And the way that he plays it and all like the gestures, that's what's made Bronn.
Yeah.
So successful in the show.
Even though he's basically a thug, you love him.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a pirate on land.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like the coolest guy.
Yeah, so. When Tyrion is staring at Jaime and Jaime sees that Daenerys is trying to pull the spear out of Drogon, and he's like clearly making a choice: either run or try to end this all at once. And then the dragon comes down his face, and that kind of slowly went through that. I mean, slowly, a few seconds, whatever. Was part of you wondering it all? Because the part of me was, I'm like, nah, there's no way. But, God, could they maybe? Like, I was wondering if Drogon was just going to torch Jaime right then and there, and that was going to be it. And I'm like, that would piss too many people off. But
I mean, there was a whole thing there because, I mean, for a moment, you're like, is Jaime actually going to do this? Is he going to kill her? And then at the end, I mean, we assume it's Bronn that saved him.
Yeah.
But it could have been Dickon.
Yeah. Did we not
we
see?
don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I guess I don't.
No,
I don't
all you
vividly
saw
remember.
Was somebody come through and hit him and get him off his horse right as the flames were coming out. So I mean, the horses were crispy,
right?
But he's obviously in the water sinking with all his armor on. So
such an awesome, epic way to end that fight.
But then that whole thing too is it's like kind of throws more shade into it. Is Tyrion on the hill, and he's going, "No, you fucking idiot!
Yeah, flee, get out of here!
Yeah, get out of here! Don't do that." So in a way, he doesn't want his brother to die.
Right.
It seems that way anyway, and so it's like
he still cares. He and Jaime were so close, and here's what I'm wondering is. We didn't get to see an interaction yet between Tyrion and Jaime, and God knows how long it's going to be. But we know we'll eventually see that. We don't know if it's going to be the next episode, because I'm assuming after he's in the water, that fight's done, the winning side left, and that possible interaction happening that quickly is gone. But here's what I'm wondering. Jamie specifically said when Bronn, I think, asked him about his brother, he goes, he killed my father. If I see him again, I'll split him in two. And Jamie was Tyrion's biggest supporter, especially in the family. I mean, they had a really close relationship. Here's what I'm wondering. Now that Olenna admitted that she's the one that killed Joffrey, is Jamie going to be any more likely to be more forgiving towards Tyrion when he finds out the reason Tyrion lost it and killed Tywin is because you know that he knowingly, convicted me of something I didn't do and put me to death. He's hated me his whole life. And then, icing on the cake, the woman that I fell in love with, that you guys have already fucked with me before when I was a kid, when I fell in love with a whore that was a trap the first time, he not only used her against me and had her lie, but then he also slept with her. I mean, what would you do? I'm wondering if Jamie would be more susceptible to forgiving Tyrion based on that information that Olenna gave him in the last episode. But what do you think?
I totally agree with that. I mean, I think it's going to come down to one of these things where Jamie does make it back to King's Landing. He's going to tell Cersei. She's going to be like, I don't care. He's already sided with
she's not going to give a shit. She'll find 10 more reasons to hate him and say he's an evil monster anyway. Yeah.
He's sided with the enemy. It's over for him. There's no coming back. And I mean, I think it's going to be another thing that kind of nudges Jamie towards that.
Inevitable. We know he's going to kill her. We know he's going to kill her at some point. It's got to be.
That's tough.
God,
the bad thing about this episode is that the ending was so great with the fight and everything. It overshadowed so much other great moments in the episode. Arya and Brianna fighting was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Arya's character.
Yeah.
I loved seeing her in that whole, like, her element almost.
And
right?
you nailed it. You were right. I was wrong. She did end up going back to Winterfell, which to me, I'm like, I still keep wondering.
I was afraid. Yeah.
What was the point of that Lymeria thing then? You know what I mean? What was the point of that? Unless they're going to bring Lymeria back into the series at some point, I don't get the purpose of that scene. Because to me, the only purpose of that scene was to kind of jolt her back into that you're on a different path. You don't need to go home. You need to do what you're doing. Now I'm just wondering, it was a cool scene, but to me it served no purpose unless, for all we know, that was a seed that they're planting for something else in the future. But having her reunion with Sansa, that was this season of reunions has been building up for so many years. God damn, it was cool. And you can tell at first they're like giggly and they hugging each other, but then you can clearly see that they have branched into these characters that are so far different that they almost don't recognize each other anymore. I mean, watching Sansa watch Arya become this clearly, holy crap, is she basically an assassin? What's going on? And watching her mind try to process that, I thought was so fulfilling. I fucking love seeing that.
Yeah.
How cool is that she was like basically on par with Brienne of Tarth?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I think like the moment it really set in, and I love the fact that they put it in there, was when she kicked her in the chest and knocked her down.
And then she just
because I mean clearly, clearly, I mean that's what's going to happen if you're fighting somebody that much bigger than you. But no, just to see her bounce back, and I mean that was phenomenal. It was that whole thing, like even the way they led up to it and stuff. After getting his ass beat over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, we've been doing this for a year. You should be better than what you are. But then, just her coming in there, and I don't know if it's that brash cockiness that she fights with or what. It's like no fear of death or what. Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem cocky. It just seems very composed. You know what I mean?
Well, her moves all seem deliberate.
Right.
She doesn't seem to be surprised by much.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's just, how that is. But
yeah.
It's no, I mean that was phenomenal. I loved the fight there.
I can't wait to see how Sansa and Arya's relationship is going to go forward now that they're kind of seeing, wow, we've really grown into two different people. And I can't imagine, like...
They've always been two different people, though.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think Sansa ever...
If you remember the very first episode, she threw food at Sansa when Robert was there, and they were having a feast. And, I mean, so they've always been two different people.
There have been so many things that they planted early on that are like having ties now. Like when Bran tells Littlefinger, chaos is a ladder, which is exactly what he said to Varys back in King's Landing in the first season.
Yeah,
that's all he said. He didn't say.
Yes.
Didn't we talk about that before? That God, Bran kind of negates Littlefinger's ability to maneuver behind the shadows because he can see everything.
I don't know if we said it, but I know some of our comments that we got from the last couple of episodes have hinted at that.
Because I was wondering if that was going to be a thing where Bran basically shuts Littlefinger down, and he doesn't. He just said basically one sentence that kind of keeps him in check, which I thought is, again, just so perfectly done, because if it was over the top. So now you're like, well, now what's going through Littlefinger's head? Is he aware that he's basically omnipotent and can see all this kind of stuff? Is he more like now just curious and cautious? Like, we really don't know how. I don't know how the fuck this stuff is going to play out.
I don't know that Littlefinger knows that he's all of those things. But I think Littlefinger, hearing those words come out of Bran, he definitely took it the right way. It was a threat.
Yeah.
And I think that he's kind of double-checking himself now. Because I think he clearly has a plan. He still is trying to accomplish something.
Yeah. God, we don't know who actually hired the assassin to use that Valyrian steel dagger to originally kill Bran, and I can't believe that we're getting back into that. I just thought we'd never know or we'd guess, but because, I mean, I guess we always assumed it was actually the Lannisters. Probably wasn't.
Because that's what Littlefinger told us.
Yeah.
But, I mean, think about all the things he set in motion with the letter from about Jon Arryn that actually made Ned leave Winterfell, and then
the fact that they poisoned Jon Arryn.
I mean, they've even credited Littlefinger, and I'm going back into some fan theory stuff, but they even think that it's possible that Littlefinger is the one that told Brandon Stark and his father that Lyanna was kidnapped by Rhaegar Targaryen instead of her actually going with him, and that started the whole Robert's rebellion and everything.
Yeah, we'll never know. Yeah, we don't know that, do we?
So
yeah, all that stuff was prior to, and they haven't mentioned what's on the series. Yeah, that's interesting. It'll be cool to see how that goes. But yeah.
With current events, I would really like to see it go back, like one of these prequels or whatever, to the Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark story, even if it's just a season of it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much, like,
there's so much cool shit that happened that you want to know about.
Yeah.
The mythos is just so big, and what goes back 12,000 years. I mean, there's so much stuff that they can mine. That this is cool. Littlefinger so far has been kind of like had his hands tied and hasn't really been able to do that much, at least that we know of. And I'm assuming, knowing the writers of the show and the way that the show has always eventually come to fruition for different plot threads, Littlefinger has to, at some point in this season, do something to shine that is very big, right? Because so far it's been really muted. He hasn't been able to do anything, and we know that there's no way he's just going to sit on his laurels and be boring all season long. There's no way.
Yeah. Are we going to have another Red Wedding moment this season with Littlefinger at the helm?
Nothing would surprise me at this point. Would that be smart, knowing that the Army of the Dead's coming?
Littlefinger turned on Ned.
In
the first season.
Yeah, he was in love with Catelyn. Do you think he would turn on Sansa if he truly loves her? I don't know.
Does he really love Sansa, or does he love the idea of
That's the
being
thing, is we don't even really know. Do you think Littlefinger even believes in the Army of the Dead, or does he think it's all superstition and is just waiting stuff out?
I think he thinks that's all superstition.
Oh, man.
That guy tells so many lies that he probably just assumes everything else is as well.
Well, with Jon Snow down at Dragonstone, I thought that was really cool when they were mining the glass and they found all those old cave markings and stuff like that.
Get to that too, with the first man,
the first men and the children of the forest.
Yeah.
So now you got to wonder, that has to move the pendulum for Daenerys at least a little bit towards believing that there's something more to what Jon Snow is telling her than just, I'm willing to help you out. And this was interesting. They even alluded to, I think it was Davos that said it, I see the way that you look at her.
Yeah.
So are they attracted to each other? Are those two going to end up together?
I don't know. I was thinking about this today, and it wouldn't be off script for those two, because incest has definitely played a big part.
That's part of the Targaryen dynasty.
Well, I mean, even just the show itself.
Right.
Jaime and Cersei. I mean, does she know that she's his aunt?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, George R. R. Martin said that the Targaryens married in family for centuries to keep the bloodlines pure because that helped them control the dragons. So
Yeah.
But then they always said, I think they even said that in the show. What was it? Tyrion was saying that to Cersei that, yeah, because of the constant incest, that you flip a coin every time a Targaryen's born, because every once in a while you're always going to get a crazy one just because of what they're doing too. So would Daenerys, if she found that out, learn from the mistakes and say, you know what, maybe this incest stuff maybe isn't such a good idea, even though it allows us to control it. I mean, we have no idea how this is going to end up or where it's going to go from here too.
Yeah, but I watched did you watch the after things? And apparently it wasn't really in the script that these two were having a moment in the cave, but just the actors and their interaction just kind of presented that to people.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, the only thing I think that wasn't, you're right, their actual interaction wasn't. The chemistry they showed in that scene worked, but then you did have Davos actually say, I see the way you look at her. So it was actually in there that must have been intentional to some extent. That wasn't just an accident or well, the fans just thought this, but we didn't think that. You know what I mean? But who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of the actions that they took in the cave were in that intention. But I think you did see kind of a discovery that they're starting to respect one another a little bit more. And the fact that I kind of liked it that Jon just found this and he wanted to show her. Yeah. Right. Like this is more proof. This shows you that we're not the first people here. When
she says, "I will help you. I will help you fight the army of the dead when you bend the knee," man, he's in a tough spot because if he chooses to do that at this point, you know what all the Northerners are going to say. How many fucking Stark leaders do we have that are constantly getting doped by people in the South and constantly getting killed? No, we're not going to follow that. But knowing that, I'm assuming from the preview we saw in next week's episode that he's going to be back up north, he's going to say something about Bran, so obviously him and Bran are going to talk. I can't fucking wait for that. Or do you think we're going to find out next week if Jon's going to find out that he's half Targaryen?
No.
It'd be too quick, right?
No, not next week. We'll find out. Jon may never actually find out.
You don't think so?
He may die fighting the White Walkers and somebody just tells somebody else.
Man, that's so tragic. Like, he's got to know at some point, right? Who his mother is?
Yeah, the king that was promised. It may be Jon, but it may not be Jon.
The prince that was promised. Yeah, that's right.
The prince that was promised.
Yeah, and we don't know at this point if that really means, assuming that there's something to the legend, if that's Daenerys or if that's Jon.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Theon had a little bit of a small part. What he the him meeting up with Jon Snow, that was fucking awesome. Because I'm wondering,
it seemed like he was looking to see how far it was going back to the ship.
Kit Harington played that so fucking perfect because when he's staring at Theon and you're remembering everything that's happened over the past few seasons, whether or not he obviously probably knows if Sansa talked to him that Theon didn't actually kill Bran and Rickon because Brandon's back, and whether Jon knows that or not. But Sansa probably told him because Sansa told him that Theon helped him get to where it is. But he did still overthrow Winterfell, killed their master at arms or whatever that one guy. Killed them. All that stuff. So clearly there was a lot of anger there, and I loved watching that moment thinking, oh shit, is Jon going to go off the rails just as he did a perfect truce and respect with the Targaryens, and now he's going to go off at one of her allies?
One of their allies.
Yeah, right in front of him because he's not going to be able to control it. But, that was
fun. Definitely a question there.
Theon's got to redeem himself at some point, right?
Theon's going to give him a wide berth now. No, I think Theon's character
is done. I think
done.
He's got to eventually have some kind of redemption.
He redeemed himself when he saved Bran from the wildlings, and I think his chivalry moments are over.
Oh, I don't know. I think that his
he may make a sacrifice.
Yeah,
but his sacrifice is going to be like falling on the sword.
Right.
You know, it's not going to be any big grand gesture where he's going to win something for the sake of winning it.
I think he'll make some kind of move to help out that's self-sacrificial, especially after his, obviously PTSD moment came when he's watching his fleet burn and his sister's captured by his psycho uncle. There's got to be some kind of small amount of redemption.
That may be it, too. He may be the one that ultimately kills his uncle.
That'd be cool.
But I think it's going to be one of those moments where it's like, I'm going to kill me, but I'm taking you with me type of situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and it might be to save his sister. Mm-hmm. You know, but... Boy,
the Iron Bank clearly is... They're all behind Cersei now, and they mentioned...
Yeah, they
Well,
don't.
the
They
golden.
like the interest. They even said we really appreciate the interest that we've been getting on your money.
Yeah, we've never had someone pay back this large of a sum all at once before, and you have the Iron Bank's support right now. I mean, they're clearly just numbers oriented. But when Cersei mentioned something like, what was it, the Golden Company, and we've never heard of them or seen them before, I'm assuming
With
that just means
Essos or whatever.
yeah, I'm
Essos,
assuming that
yeah.
just means, okay, now they're going to have another for-hire army that the Iron Bank is going to pay for, so that it's going to help even the odds even more against the Dothraki horde and stuff like that, right? Otherwise,
Well,
why
yeah,
mention
I mean,
that?
That's like a car salesman move. It's like, well, I just looked at another one of these down the street. A lot less for it, right? I mean, Bravo's. They're clearly saying that Bravo's not the only game in town.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because he's like, oh yeah, well, we're aware of them, but it's just like anything. It's like, man, ours is so much better.
Just knowing the way they plant seeds, though, don't you think that's obviously got to be the next army that helps fulfill the Lannisters' numbers in this season to help them so that they're still, because they're still offset by the Dothraki, and
Tullies
even though
are gone.
say what?
Tullies are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they're whatever army they marched into Highgarden with.
Yeah, they just lost.
Pretty much gone. It's obliterated.
Oh, you're right. That's right. They need an army bad. It's got to be this Golden Company.
So the Lannister army and the Tully army and all those other ones that were at Highgarden to seize Highgarden,
gone.
I mean, a fraction, maybe 10% of that army exists.
Right. Wow.
So it'll be interesting to see if Sam's dad died in that. I don't think he did. He probably fled.
I'm assuming, or they would have showed it, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's at least, he's screen worthy of a death at least.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I didn't see him burning alive anywhere. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much gone. So now they're just going to be filling it with the same army that Stannis ended up getting. The people that desert and all those other things. So
we saw on the preview for next week's episode that Varys was talking to Tyrion about, trying to get Daenerys to listen to them, or at least listen to Tyrion. You can tell she's definitely kind of in desperate mode, you know what I mean, where she's like feels backed into a corner, where I think some of her... I mean, the fact that she even said that she might not trust Tyrion because he's thinking about his family, when she knows inside that's not truth, you can tell she's definitely up against a wall and she's kind of lashing out. I obviously think we're going to see more of that based on the preview for next week's episode. I'm just curious how long is that rift going to get even bigger, or is she finally going to calm down and start thinking instead of just acting in desperation mode?
No, I don't think what she did was desperation. I think what she did is she needed to win a fight. And she needed to show them that she could win a fight, and she went and she did that.
Sure. No, I agree with you there, but what I'm talking about is for the next episode, I don't see Varys telling Tyrion that she needs to listen more unless she was doing something specifically that was maybe going a little bit too far.
I think his comment was related to this and to what Jon Snow told her. He says, with the dragons, you've shown that you can make the impossible possible, but if you take these dragons in there and you burn everything to the ground, you're not showing them that it's something different. You're showing them it's the same thing.
That was a great speech.
It was. So, I mean, with that being said, Tyrion and why am I blanking on his name? Varys, they probably do want to rein that in. They don't want this victory to be the blueprint for every other victory she's going to have. But I think in her eyes, and even in mine, this is a victory they needed to win. They needed to do something to show that they weren't just getting pushed off the map.
And they weren't burning a city worth of innocent people in, you know what I mean, city. It was soldiers on the field.
An army on the field outside of the view of people. Though people will hear about it. Yeah. But it's still a military action. Yeah. So.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think those were all the big things that happened in the episode. Are we forgetting anything?
Oh, let's see. The episode seemed really short, but I think it was just because the pacing was so good.
It was like, I think, 10 or 12 minutes shorter than normal. But I think that's because at that end point, you end it where the story kind of... Now that this stuff is condensed and there's a limited amount of things and people going on, I think it served the story. Yeah. I didn't think it was too short.
Yeah. Because, I mean, let's think about how it went. Arya went back to Winterfell. Jon found the dragon glass.
We didn't see anything in the Unsullied at Casterly Rock, so I'm wondering how they're going to get back since there's no food there.
Yeah, they're slaves. I'm sure they're used to not eating that much.
I hope so, because...
I mean, they're a disciplined army. I mean, the biggest thing with that is, she even said, we'll get them back. We'll find a way to get them back. They'll probably abandon Casterly Rock, but No, I think we kind of touched on everything. I mean, at this point, this episode really did make me love Braun even more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love that guy.
I know.
He gets his bag of gold, and Jamie's like, "That's a whole lot of money."
Yeah.
He's like, "But it's not a castle."
Uh-huh.
He's like, "Well, there's that one."
And that scene when he's running and he dropped his gold, I'm like, man, you have lost everything, man. This sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think he already realized he was on the losing fight, so he was trying to do whatever he could to try to stay alive at that point.
Do you think, based on his relationship with Tyrion, if they talked, that he would jump sides and then fight for Daenerys' cause? Because he said, we're friends, but, like, you know, money's more important. But I'm just curious.
He's the mystery. That's just it. That's what I love about him. He's just that mystery guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's the mercenary. He's the gun for hire type.
So you'd think if he's a mercenary and it's just about money, he'd probably much rather be fighting with Tyrion, the guy that he likes.
I really wish we could know more about Braun.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think there's more to his story.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because I've been on YouTube, just getting in the freaking throne whirl or whatever it is, right? No, but that actor and that character, love it. Jamie, I love. Jon Snow, Daenerys. I mean, the characters that are there. I mean, Brienne. Even Podrick has his place in the show. I mean, it's not like, I was like, oh, fuck, it's another Podrick scene. No, he's there. Mm-hmm. And granted, he may not do much, but, you know, he's there. It's endearing because he's always upbeat about getting his ass kicked. But
this has been such a good season for reunions.
It has.
And even when they had, it's not like the reunions happened, it's over. It's now like, God, now what are they going to do? Now how are they going to interact with each other?
Yeah, I mean, think about the first episode. You got to see the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see the Hound meeting with the Brothers with No Banners. I mean, there's a lot of pieces still in play. And
I forgot about the Brotherhood with No Banners.
Moments.
That's right.
They're heading to Eastwatch. That's where they said Bran saw the vision.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. God, I fucking can't wait.
I guess I did have a question, though, because I thought, and I might have said this in the last one, I thought Littlefinger was on Arya's list of people to kill.
I don't remember. Maybe.
Maybe a viewer can clear that up, because I thought at one point she had Littlefinger on that list, because once you're on the list, I don't think she takes you off, because even when she was with the Hound,
because I think she took the Hound's name off. Remember that
because she thought he died.
Well, yeah, but even before that, remember when every time she was lying, the person that was training her would slap her hand when she was lying, and she kept saying the Hound was still on his list, and she kept getting slapped, and she said, "Stop lying." She goes, "Okay, no, the Hound was not on my list anymore by the time he died." So I think she took him off mentally before.
But she kept saying his name, though.
I know, because she was lying to herself. I think the whole purpose of slapping, stop lying to yourself, be honest with yourself. And she said, no, I took the Hound's name off.
I guess we did find one more thing out in this episode, and that's, I thought Bran's wolf was still alive, and apparently it died.
Did it?
Last season.
Okay.
Defending Bran when the Hodor was holding the door.
And
Before they ran into, what's his name?
Uncle Benjen.
Uncle Benjen,
mm-hmm.
Yep. Before they ran into him. So apparently, as far as Lymeria and is Ghost still alive?
I think so. I mean, from what I remember, the producer saying the only what the producer said, the only reason he wasn't in the Battle of the Bastards was because they didn't have the money to do that big of a fight, plus a giant, and the dog. They had to make a choice. So I'm assuming that Ghost is still alive. We've never seen him die on screen, and if he was intended to be on that episode, which, you know, by story canon-wise was only a few episodes ago, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because they showed Rob's getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
They showed the head of Recons. Apparently, they showed the death of Bran's, but I must have missed it and all that chaos that was going on.
Who knows?
And Sansa's was dead because Ned killed Sansa's direwolf.
Mm-hmm. Did we get any more of Sam Tully in this episode? I don't remember.
No more Sam in this episode. And no Jorah Mormont yet either.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Mm-hmm.
So,
a lot of stuff to look forward to. Another fucking awesome episode.
It's like another review. I know somebody's like, that's not a reaction, that's a review.
Oh, that's true. I mean,
ultimately they are.
To some extent, a reaction is, I mean, it just depends where on the spectrum you choose to classify it. You know what I mean?
We need to rationalize. Yeah, this is us talking it out.
Yeah.
It's like,
gray
like I
area.
told you yesterday, I'm like, you need to watch this episode because I have a huge throne on, and it's kind of one of those things. It's like,
yeah, when you text
you
me
know,
that, I got even more pumped about it, and I was staying off of the internet and everything because I didn't want to get spoiled on it. And then I watched it, I'm like, God damn, that was fucking awesome. Love that episode, too.
You know, the bad thing about this is it was leaked.
Oh, yeah.
I had this episode since Thursday of last week, purposefully not watching it. Somebody sent me the link. It's like, here it is. Didn't watch it because I wanted to watch it on Sunday with everybody else.
Yep.
And I'm glad I did.
Watching a bootleg copy off of the internet that looks like a dumbed down, that it could be like a VHS or maybe even a DVD on a big screen or whatever. I'm like, what's the point of waiting an entire year to watch this show that we're only going to get 7-hour-long segments of, seeing them in high def and everything like that, alongside everybody, you're right, watching them on the same basic time on a Sunday evening.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, well, why did you even bother waiting the year if you were this close to the finish line to seeing the full quality version?
Exactly,
like,
Yeah, I'd rather share. I know I didn't have 20 million people in my living room, but I felt like I was part of a community watching it when it was supposed to. But I do have to tell you that after watching this episode, I really wish I had the rest of the season to watch. Because it's kind of one of those things where I was spoiled for 6 seasons.
Yeah, you got to watch them all
that
whenever
at
you
whatever
wanted.
pace I wanted. You know, I didn't have to wait. If I liked an episode, I could keep watching.
Welcome to the pain that we've all endured for so many years.
Now I feel like Superman that has lost his power. Like I went in that chamber and it took my powers away from me, and now I'm just a mere mortal.
You know what though? I do believe it. I know that we're in the era of binge shows, but I do think that week at a time wait, that little bit of frustration of having to wait, I think that makes it better, in my opinion. Getting to just binge watch it all at once is fulfilling because you get to watch it all then and there. But there's something about delayed gratification, a week at a time in the build-up. And it also feels like...
That's not something we know anymore.
Well, it feels like, it's good to know that, like, a little bit of time passed between each episode. It just kind of helps a little bit, as opposed to watching, show after show where, I don't know, I just like having that week in between. Don't get me wrong. If we had the option of watching all 7 episodes all at once, of course we're going to jump on it. But I do like a little bit of time in between, too. I just think it makes the outcome better.
What's nice, too, is that you can view, like what we're doing, you can view somebody else's reaction. You can get somebody else's explanation as to what actually happened.
Get their insight and their opinions, which is my favorite thing.
Yeah, which is nice. I mean, granted, we're doing that, so I'm not plugging us necessarily because I watch other people's shows. I watch other people's reactions.
But clearly, we're the definitive Game of Thrones reaction show on the internet.
First, and then go, fake news, go look at that. But, it's real. But no.
Few hundred views. What's up, internet?
Exactly.
That's right.
We're breaking the internet with our 100 views. The hugest, greatest 100 views ever.
Yep.
But anyway, no, great episode.
Yep. Absolutely awesome episode. Well, for those of you watching, let us know what you think in the comments below about this episode. Or if there's anything that we missed, please remember we love the show, but we're not die-hard Song of Ice and Fire fans. So if we mess anything up, let us know. Be gentle. And
I love to be educated.
Yeah.
Tell me what I need to look at. If you have videos, if you have explanations, I'd love to read them.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you can always check out regular episodes of Fractured Focus every week, where we talk about everything from geek culture to nerd news, along with random topics for discussion. You can always check us out at youtube.com/fracturedfocus. And with that being said, till next week.